Hi, welcome to our channel Everyday Movie Recap, where we will recap the movie Blood Diamond from the year 2006. It is an action thriller film about the civil war in West Africa over a diamond mine. Have you watched this movie yet? If not, sit back, relax, and enjoy. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to a local fisherman named Solomon who wakes up his son Dia to prepare him for school. Dia lazily refuses to go, as it is a very long way to his school, but with his father reminding him of his goal to become a doctor, Dia gets motivated and inspired that his studies will be worth it. Solomon headed out to sea to fish after ensuring his son had departed for school. The following afternoon, he gets to his school to pick up Dia. As they go back home, they come upon the Revolutionary United Front, a group of rebels fighting in the American Civil War. By accident, he immediately tells his kid to hide and hurry back home. Unfortunately, the insurgents took him hostage. To stop them from participating in the election, the rebels in the village kidnapped as many locals as they could and severed their hands. Poison, the rebel commander, would shoot anyone who dared to revolt, silencing the others. Poison noticed Solomon. When it was his turn, he chose to let go of him, and instead brought him to work in the diamond mine. It was somewhere, at a conference of the United Nations, that issues related to Sierra Leone's civil war were being discussed. As it turned out, the war was being orchestrated by RUF. They subverted the state and declared war in order to take control of the diamond mine and utilize the profits to buy weapons for their soldiers. They purchased illicit weaponry with the diamonds they extracted, although the nations had initially decided not to purchase diamonds from war zones. Transactions involving illicit vendors continued since they always managed to conceal their goods. Simmons, the owner of Vandy, a diamond manufacturing company, attended the conference in the hopes of providing assistance in resolving the violence in Sierra Leone. A pink diamond the size of an egg of quail was unintentionally discovered by Solomon back in the Sierra Leone diamond mine, and it was estimated to be worth about $60 million. He hid it right away by putting it between his toes where no one could see it. Then, he seized the opportunity to bury the diamond by asking to go. The restroom. Unfortunately, Poison noticed him and was going to take the diamond when all of a sudden, the army ambushed the area. Along with other RUF members who were apprehended, Solomon was charged with being associated with the group and is imprisoned. Poison continued in requesting the diamond from Solomon while he was in prison. He would even offer anyone who could deliver him the diamond for a huge sum of money. Danny, a prisoner who had recently been sentenced for smuggling diamonds, learned of it and made the decision to track it down. Danny was released the following day by a friend of his. Then he persuaded his friend to free Solomon so he could question him about where he had hidden the gem. Danny sought the diamond in order to sell it to a manufacturer of diamonds and profit handsomely, enabling him to flee Africa. Danny is a former Zimbabwean mercenary who joined the group of people smuggling guns, which they supplied to the RUF in return for diamonds. He was caught and sentenced to prison the other day when, following a transaction, he purposefully concealed the diamonds inside the sheepcoat. The head of the mercenaries who supplied the rebels with weaponry, Colonel Kotze, was the target of his failed attempt to smuggle the diamond. As soon as Danny got to his house, he removed a chunk of diamond out of his false tooth and went to sell it so he could buy a pistol from Maid, the bartender. He then sees a beautiful woman named Maddy and starts to flirt with her. He then approached the woman to start a conversation without a second thought. However, he left Maddy as soon as he learned that she was a journalist who attempted to expose the network that supported Vandy in his covert purchase of diamonds from Sierra Leone. As it turned out, Danny collaborated with Vandy to sell his jewels and knew that if he became too close to Maddy, she would destroy his career. Upon returning home, Danny discovered that his room had been disturbed. The following day, Danny went to see Colonel Kotze, who had actually done the act because he was furious with Danny for failing to do his part in smuggling the diamonds. Danny was requested to locate the pink diamond that Solomon found as payment for the stones Danny had lost and for all of his outstanding debts to the colonel, who was obviously infuriated by Danny's failure. The gems were discovered by Colonel Kotze through his informant. Danny had a responsibility to deliver the pink diamond to him, or he would murder him. Solomon was spotted searching a refugee camp somewhere else for his family, but he was unable to find them even after an extended search. He was terrified that they might still be outside, far from the camp's protection. As all of this was going on, the RUF arrived from an ambush in another village. Regretfully, Solomon's family was present. Upon capture, Dia was brought to the insurgent camp. They brainwashed him to fight for their wars. After starting work at a hotel in Sierra Leone's capital, Danny went to see Solomon. In exchange for him helping Solomon locate his family, he persuaded Solomon to reveal the whereabouts of the pink diamond. After Danny's commitment, Solomon was eager to assist him in finding it, even though at first he refused to tell him. They quickly fled when they spotted the RUF shortly after. they were left grieving while the rebels laughed while murdering as many people as they could. Fortunately, they were able to flee. Danny took Solomon to meet Maddy after they left the city. He did so on purpose to get Maddy to assist them in locating Solomon's family in return for information regarding every syndicate connected to Vandy and the diamond smuggling operations Danny was aware of. When Maddy heard that, she made the decision to assist them, and as soon as she learned about Solomon's family, they set out to locate them. They were left behind at a camp for refugees. Solomon cries tears of joy upon seeing his family after a long time. He was sorely missing them, but when he learned that Dia had been taken prisoner by the RUF, his joy turned to sadness. To top it all off, Maddy informed Solomon that he would only be able to see his family once the war was over. In keeping with his word, Danny revealed all he knew about Van de Kopp's role in the diamond smuggling. He informed her that he had succeeded in sneaking a large quantity of diamonds into Liberia's capital, Monrovia, in order to export the diamonds to the Belgian city of Antwerp. He would pay the customs officers there to pass the diamond examination and verify that the diamonds were mined in Liberia rather than Sierra Leone. After going through the sorting process, the diamonds would be shipped to India, where they would be combined with diamonds from all around the world. Following that drawn-out procedure, Van de Kopp would purchase the gems to safeguard them before selling them for a hefty sum. Van de Kopp was active in the fight to keep it continuing even if they were not the ones directly sponsoring it. Danny retained all the proof. Danny instructed Solomon to pose as his cameraman after he had told Maddy everything so they could follow the press convoy to the Kono district, where Solomon had buried the pink diamond. Following that, they proceeded to the journalists who were being guarded by the armed forces. However, midway through their journey, the rebels appeared and ambushed the convoy. Luckily, Danny, Maddy, and Solomon were able to avoid the ambush. They then carried going through the forest until the local million stopped them soon after. They belonged to the Kumagers, a local tribe that refrained from fighting in the American Civil War. They flew into a panic, but Maddy grabbed her camera and informed the villagers that they had come to report on the Kumagers' battle with the rebels. The three of them were subsequently brought to a home that housed several young people who had already been brainwashed and instructed to fight for the rebels and the orphans. A guy by the name of Benjamin ran the refuge. Benjamin recounted Danny the tale of how he was able to save the kids from the rebel gang in the afternoon as he was watching the kids play. Then he explained to him that although everyone is kind at first, their deeds shape who they end up being. Even the worst can be made to feel loved and kind again by showing a little compassion. Following his reflections on Benjamin's remarks, Danny broke down and confided in Maddy about his issues, sharing his feelings and thoughts about his life. In an abandoned warehouse, he told her, his father was hanged and beheaded on a crane, while his mother was tortured and shot. His sole desire was to escape Africa and experience a brief period of tranquility free from violence and death. After seeing all of that, he wondered if God had forgiven them, but he came to the conclusion that God had long since departed the area. To soothe him, Maddy gave him a hug. The rebels ambushed Danny and the others the following day when Benjamin was driving them to Kono. Benjamin, regrettably, was shot and suffered catastrophic injuries. At that point, Danny moved quickly to get out of there and avoid the ambush. Following that, Danny proceeded to see Colonel Cutsey, who was in fact waiting for them in Kono. He gave Danny instructions to gather all the tools needed to unearth the diamond, but as he was doing so, he requested Maddy to draw the mercenaries' attention so that Solomon and he could reach the gem's position without them. He took the equipment and bid Maddy farewell, knowing that things had become worse and she would soon be leaving Africa to return to London. Maddy handed Danny her card before she left, even though he felt a connection with Maddy. Danny knew he wasn't meant for her, so he hoped she would find someone who loved her like that. Following that, Solomon and Danny took off running. They heard from an elderly man that RUF had advanced to the next village. When Solomon heard that, he made the decision to head toward the little town in an attempt to save Dia, but Danny intervened to ensure Solomon's safety. As long as Dia wanted to travel with him, he pledged to bring her back. Finally, they arrive at the location of the mines. After noticing the rebels stationed nearby, Danny made the decision to give Colonel Cutsey a call and let him know where they were. They made the decision to hold off until the colonel arrived. That evening, Solomon heedlessly ventured into the mines to locate his son without informing Danny. As he had yearned for him, he grabbed Dia's hand as soon as he discovered her and tried to go, but Dia was unwilling to go. The brainwashed Dia instead thinks that his father is the enemy. Solomon and Poison met again the following day. Poison threatened to kill Dia and his entire family if he refused to reveal where he had hidden the diamond. Then, angers Solomon and he launches a vicious attack on them. Just then, Colonel Cutsey and his soldiers arrived and began to bombard the area, buying Danny some extra time to free Dia. The RUF was eliminated a moment later. Colonel Cutsey then instructed Danny to put pressure on Solomon to reveal the precise location of the pink diamond's burial. He threatened Solomon's life if Solomon didn't comply. Trapped and terrified, Solomon eventually revealed the location. But as he dug, Danny signaled him to carry out the previously devised plan. Colonel Cutsey was finally brought down by Danny, who then instructs Solomon to locate the pink gem as the army was on its route to that spot. Danny became aware that he had been shot as they were searching for the gem. When Solomon eventually located the pink gem a moment later, Dia abruptly aimed his rifle at Danny. In a few moments, Solomon informed him that everyone was waiting for him to come home and was concerned about him. Fortunately, Dia regained consciousness upon his father's words. Solomon gave his son a hug, and the two of them walked out right away. Danny begged Solomon to give him the diamond as they were walking, and Solomon immediately gave it to him. Then Danny gave his friend a call to come get him from the mountaintop. Despite his friend's advice to go to the hill alone, he insisted on telling Solomon and Dia to continue walking. At last, Danny ran out of energy and collapsed. As soon as Solomon saw Danny was hurt, he promptly placed him across over his shoulder. After realizing that he will not make it to the top, Danny orders Solomon to put him down. He gives the car and the diamond back to him and instructs Solomon to tell Maddy his final words. After saying his goodbyes, he eventually breathed his last breath. When Solomon did eventually arrive in London the following day, he met Maddy right away. That day, with Maddy watching from a distance, he was going to give Simmons the pink diamond. Soon after, Simmons showed up with plans to give Solomon $2 million in exchange for the diamond, but Solomon wouldn't sell it until he could get back to his family. The movie ends as Solomon reunites with his family. Maddy also wrote an article about Behind the Precious Gem's grim backstory. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed the movie. If you want more content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.